All right, good morning.
Good morning.
How are you? Fine?
Fine.
Good, thank you. Today we're going to do lesson 7, and it's about some government and industry questions, and a lot of it has to do with it says here government, but also maybe some of the politics and things like that of how the government works. One of the first questions, though, is maybe it's related to industry, is why is tourism so important to Japan? Mm-hmm. And in this answer, I know that a lot of people stress the economic benefits. Mm-hmm. There's also cultural benefits too, which is also something you can mention. I'll listen to your answer, then I'll give some other information or hints or something. Okay?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Good. So why do you think tourism is so important to Japan?
Oh, the first is income, and the second is culture exchange.
Okay.
In Japan, our economy is still in slump. So
okay, in a slump.
In a slump.
Yeah, okay.
So we still have a lot of things to activate our economy. The income from international tourism is very important in this sense. So the second is culture exchange.
Okay.
There are many scenic places in Japan to see, to view, and also many historical, many forms of culture to enjoy in Japan.
Okay.
So by explaining all these things, they can understand our culture. At the same time, they can understand people in Japan.
Okay, they can understand the Japanese people.
Japanese people
is
better than people in Japan?
Yeah, probably just sounds a little more closer.
Closer.
Yeah.
Japanese people.
Yeah.
Is better. Okay.
Yeah, it's just easier to understand and things. Okay. Okay. And good. Okay, so we have that, and you mentioned both the economic and cultural aspects. Some people have mentioned the economic effects rather than, I would say, economic benefits.
Benefits.
Yeah, it sounds better than economic effects because it's neither economic effects nor benefits is better than the other, but what's nice is that economic benefit sounds better and it's maybe more conversational.
Benefits.
Yeah, so there's economic benefits, cultural benefits. Okay. Related to this question, I would like to ask you, how are some ways the government can encourage more tourism to Japan?
Oh, yeah, there are many ways to encourage tourism to come. For example, the foreign ministry can do a lot of things in their branches in the countries in the world. I believe their activity on the publicity campaign for tourism is very lack in their branches. So they should do that, and the government has to spend a lot of money for that kind of things. And at the same time, inside Japan, for example, in the stations, railway stations, and in the historical places, not so many Roman character explanation.
Or maybe just
English explanation.
Yeah, well, English or foreign language.
Yeah, English or foreign language explanation. So they should make effort to write in English or in other countries as well as in Japanese.
Right, in other languages.
Other languages.
Right.
Yeah, other languages. At the same time, the facilities, for example, lodging, accommodations, they should have more effort to meet the foreigners' request.
Okay. Good. All right. Good. Those are some good policies that I think would work. Right. The government should pay more attention to maybe making PR, public
PR.
relations, and also more promotions, for example, online, into the internet, and also some countries advertise on what international broadcasting news networks such as CNN. If you've ever watched CNN, they have a lot of promotions from Korea, for example, or the Philippines, or India, or Malaysia. A lot of these countries advertise on that, and it builds the image of the country as well as attracts tourists, so that type of thing. And also, right, as a lot of people mentioned, so signs in stations and in historical places could be in other languages. Again, a lot of people tend to say, oh, they should have more signs in English, but then again, nowadays more tourists are coming from Korea and China. It's probably nicer to have everybody's few more languages to accommodate tourists, right? And then another thing is maybe, the government should work together with hotels and airlines and railroads to make more maybe packages, package tours that are more attractive.
Yes.
Right? So Japan has the image of being a very expensive country, even though sometimes it isn't and some things are not really expensive. Everyone has the image as a expensive country, so maybe working on, changing the image would be good. Okay?
Have you ever seen the Japanese PR in the CNN or
I have
BBC
not, no.
No, but you can see many from
yeah.
Philippines and Korea and China.
Yes, yes. A lot of the countries
it's very
do.
different.
Yeah, very different. So Japan, although I know that this is expensive, it kind of builds an image for the country also. I'm not sure exactly. Each person watches and, I want to go to Japan, but it builds the image. They're very scenic. They're very creative, and they make a very nice, image of the country. So they're fun to watch, actually.
I was surprised at seeing the figure. It's statistics, which said the tourists to Korea is double of Japanese one.
Tourists to Korea from what countries? Other countries?
From other countries.
Oh, okay.
Tourists to Korea
To
from
Korea.
other countries is double of Japanese is tourists to Japan.
Oh, okay.
I am very surprised.
Oh, you're
at seeing
surprised.
that.
Yeah, and I think part of the image is, again, Korea is considered to be less expensive. And part of the thing is Japan is not an inexpensive country, but it can do something to change the image and also do something with pricing and things. Because that's the biggest drawback, I think, is the image. Japan has everything that's so expensive that people, tend not to come because they're afraid of the prices. But once people get here, they realize it's not that expensive. So Japan doesn't do much PR at all to change the image of an expensive country, although certain things are really expensive. So anyway, those are things that government can do.
Yes.
Okay.
I believe so. Yeah.
Good. Let's go on then. I'll think of some other questions to ask, and then we'll also maybe review questions from past lessons. But we'll go through the first, the lessons, the questions we have today. And the next one is, what are the main industrial products of Japan?
The main products of Japan is automobile, electric and electronic products,
Okay.
Devices, machines,
Okay.
and followed by the general machines such as motor, robots.
Okay.
In the old time, I would say just after the Second World War, shipbuilding, iron and steel industry, textile, these kind of industries, old-fashioned industry, I would say, led Japan, Japanese economy. But now the new industries, as I mentioned earlier, are leading in Japan now. Japanese economy now.
Okay, good. All right, that was a good answer. I didn't stop you in the middle, but for example, one of the industries you said is automobile.
Automobile.
Yeah, well, these are automobiles.
Automobiles.
Right.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so automobiles, and then you said also some of the basic machinery like motor, which should be motors.
Motors.
Yeah, and then you did say robots, making that plural. So the plural works better. So again, it's this question, how you answer is unusual. So some of the main industries are the automobile industry. So then it becomes, automobile becomes an adjective, not a noun. So again, it's what are some of the main industrial products? The products are automobiles, consumer electronic goods, computers, semiconductors. Those are all products. Other students answer like, oh, some of the major industries are the automobile, computer, semiconductor industries. So again, if you're using these same names in English, if it's a noun, then it usually is a plural. The products are computers, automobiles, consumer goods. But if you say it as an adjective, so the industries are the automobile, consumer goods industry, and the computer industry or something, or semiconductor industry.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so that's just for a grammar point. People sometimes mix up the main industries are the automobiles industry, and we don't say that. Automobile industry, yeah. But the products are automobiles. Okay? Good.
This question is about the products.
Right,
So
this
when
question is about the
when I
products.
answer, industries. So is that strange?
No.
I should say.
No, what
just
you answered is
products.
okay, right. Right, some of these are okay. Because in the model answer they give, additional key industries in Japan economy are petrochemicals, pharmaceuticals, shipbuilding, and so what they're doing is some of the products are these and some of the major industries are these. And so again, the question asks about products, so it's just probably easier to talk about the products. So rather than additional key industries, additional products are petrochemicals, pharmaceuticals, bioindustry, ships, aircraft. So again, what I'm trying to say is that the answer combines products and industries together, and I think it'd be actually better just to continue to say the products are additional key products in Japan's economy. Additional key products are, petrochemicals, pharmaceuticals, ships, aircraft, textiles, and processed food. So keep everything products and not mixing up industries.
Should be integrated.
Yeah, it's better.
Consistent.
Yeah, it should be consistent. I think it's easier to make an answer that way because sometimes English grammar needs to change to fit what you're saying. Okay?
Okay.
Good. So those are some of the main industries. Can you tell me what is the main industry are there some major industries in the Tokyo area?
In Tokyo area, I think printing, and I mean the producing magazines, newspapers, all kind of stuff. That kind of stuff.
Okay.
Is one of the major industries in Tokyo area.
Okay.
And also, many people are engaged in the animation, comic production. So it's very unique to Japan, I believe, in the world. And these things are located mainly located in Tokyo area.
Okay, good, good answer. Right, there's printing, and then sometimes you say publications.
Publication.
Right, so that's fine. Printing is fine. Printing because you print magazines, newspapers, books. So printing and publications are popular as well, as you said, anime and some of these manga manga products or whatever. I guess they're publications like mangas, part of that. Okay, good. Let me go then to question 3.
Yeah.
And question 3 is completely different. It says, when and how was Tokyo designated as the capital of Japan?
It was 1868. The Tokugawa shogunate returned their power to the emperor at the time. And the Meiji government decided that they placed their government in Edo, the name of which is called now Tokyo, or changed to Tokyo at the time.
Right.
So the emperor moved from Kyoto to Tokyo.
Okay.
So the capital, the Tokyo became capital, because in Japan, the place where the emperor lives is designated as a capital, as a rule in Japan.
Okay. And then why was the city renamed from Edo to Tokyo? Why did they choose the word Tokyo?
I think the Meiji government didn't like the old name. They wanted to erase away everything from the old shogunate. That's why the name was changed totally from Edo to Kyoto.
Okay,
Tokyo.
Good. Right. And
Tokyo means eastern Kyoto.
Right. Okay, good. So it means Eastern Kyoto or Eastern capital, however you want to say. Good. Okay. Let's go to number 4. Question 4 asks, what kind of pollution is Japan facing now?
There are some kinds of pollutions. There were some kind of serious pollutions, such as water pollution, air pollution, and soil pollution. But now it was around 40 to 50 years ago, when the Japanese economy grew very rapidly. But now, thanks to the industries and people's effort, the pollution level was lowered and now is kept in a very lower level.
Okay.
But we are facing the new pollution, such as acid rain and yellow sand from China. In addition to that, we are annoyed by the noise from motorcycles and also pachinko shop. That's a problem with us.
Okay, good. Yeah, I was going to say, the noise pollution. What are some of the biggest, sources of noise pollution in Japan? Pachinko shops, right? And as the model answer gives, the noise pollution caused by motor vehicles. So you could just say, people have trouble with the word vehicles. They can't say it properly. They forget. So just, noise pollution caused by cars, trucks, buses, motorcycles.
Motorcycles.
That's, that's fine. So that's fine. What you said is fine. Just that other classes, students have trouble with this motor vehicles. So we just say, simply you can say by cars, trains, buses, trucks, motorcycles. You don't have to even mention them all, but cars and trucks and buses or something. Good. Do you know, again, it's interesting you mentioned pachinko. What else do you think are noise polluting activities?
I think in Japanese are very so accustomed to the noise that we don't care about so much. But I think to foreigners, noise in the, for example, in the department store and train platforms. For example, when you are going to get on the escalator, many warnings are issued from spoken automatically.
Right.
It's to Japanese, it's okay.
Yeah.
We are accustomed, but to foreigners, it should be very, very annoying.
Well, it is. I think I don't. It's, in a sense, maybe that's the Japanese, nature for harmony. But nobody says anything, and the Japanese don't complain, right?
Yes.
Foreign people complain like me. My two biggest complaints are the campaign cars.
Oh, campaign cars.
And what are those, uyoku? Those
Uh-huh.
trucks that have the flags and the
Yeah.
Japanese what
Song,
is it?
Japanese
Gunka,
military song.
songs. Those to me are just horrible.
Yeah, I understand that.
And when I was a little boy, they used to have what you call campaign cars in America, and they've banned them. They're totally banned, illegal. And that type of noise from cars and things is illegal. Where in Japan, it still exists, and so I get kind of annoyed. I think it is. I think people don't like it, actually, but nobody complains to stop it. So
Yeah, they are complaining secretly. But
secretly, right? Anyway, so yeah, there's forms of noise pollution. Okay. As you mentioned, there's some things used to be worse, now they're a little better. There's new types of pollution. So my question is, what can Japan do to reduce pollution, or how is Japan reducing pollution? What measures is Japan taking to reduce pollution?
pollutions, you mean the air pollution, the water pollution?
Yeah, some of these you mentioned, like acid rain, the new pollution, or the as the model book answered, red tides, things like this. Do you know what is Japan doing anything to reduce these?
Yeah, the first two, acid rain and yellow sand, is a little bit difficult because they are, in the case of acid rain, it's partly from China, but mainly from Japan itself. So if we can, for example, if the government promote the hybrid car and EV, electric vehicle, so the vehicles exhaustive gas,
Exhaust emissions,
exhaust emissions could be reduced very very greatly.
Okay.
So acid rain will be reduced.
Right.
At the same time, as for yellow sand, China has to plant a lot of trees. Otherwise, they can't stop the yellow sand. So many Japanese are voluntarily making effort in China by planting many trees, but it's not enough yet.
Right, it's not enough. Yeah, China has its own problems, and this is not only China, but a lot of countries. For example, Eastern Europe and Western Europe had trouble because of acid rain from going into Western European countries, from Eastern European countries. So they have to kind of help each other as neighbors. Otherwise, maybe Japan might be able to solve the acid rain, but if it's being affected by China or other countries,
Yes.
then you do. I think Germany had problems with
Yes.
other countries that were near it. So, okay, good. Related to this is a past question we had, but maybe the subject of global warming And how does global warming affect Japan, and what can Japan do to stop global warming?
How affect?
How does it affect Japan, or what are some of the effects?
Yeah, okay. I think the first one is the temperature is going up. And the climate is changing. In the winter, it's very, very cold. In summertime, it's very hot compared with the old time. So I feel the climate change is it's becoming larger and larger.
Okay.
And also, it's very related to the climate change. But typhoon's energy seems to going up. So the precipitation by the typhoon is going up. So the damage from the typhoons are also going up.
Right, so damage is going up.
Is going up.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So is Japan doing anything to reduce global warming?
To reduce the global warming, we can do a lot of things. One is the automobile exhaust gas should be reduced, and I think it's easier part. For example, Toyota, Honda are developing the hybrid and EV cars, and also fuel cell cars.
Right.
So I think in the very near future, it will be as far as motor vehicle goes.
Okay.
It should be okay. And also the many industries such as iron and steel, petrochemistry, they are making more and more effort to reduce the exhaust gas from the chimney or
Yeah, the chimney's
chimney,
okay.
yeah.
Okay, good.
So it's okay. And people, the common people is making effort, for example, to switch off very frequently the light.
Okay, right. Turn off lights you don't
turn
use.
off lights. Can I say switch off the
Yes, switch off lights.
the lights, or reduce the number of taking bath.
Taking baths, or reduce the time.
The time of taking bath.
Right.
So by doing that, even the common people are making effort.
Right.
So I think we can do a lot of things.
Right. Okay. Good answer. Right. Just as in, you can't say everything in your answer. Some of the other suggestions are for common people to, take a bicycle or walk instead of using the car, or use more public transportation instead of your own car. Also, just very simply bringing your own shopping bags to the grocery store, to the store, so then the store doesn't use bags and they don't have to produce bags and throw so many bags away. Okay, so those are just some grassroots efforts. Okay. You mentioned about a couple things I think we'll review some questions for. One of them was typhoons. Can you tell me what is a typhoon and when did they come to Japan?
The typhoon is, the definition of typhoon is very close to that of hurricane in America. It's the typhoon is born in the southeast Pacific Ocean, in the southeast part of Pacific Ocean.
The typhoon, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's low pressure, and then it grows to the typhoon and come to strike Japan a huge, maybe on the average 4 times or 3 times per year.
Okay.
and it brings a lot of rain and wind, strong wind.
Okay.
So the damage is sometimes very, very serious, including killing people. The next question was
Well, how many typhoons,
how many typhoons?
yeah, come
Yeah.
to Japan?
On the average, 4 times, I think. 4 times, yeah,
Okay.
per year. And
All right.
they are born, 20 or 30 typhoon are born every
Right.
year in the south of Pacific
Mm.
Ocean, but only 3 to 4 out of 20 to 30 strike Japan.
Right. So yeah, that's the key. So there's maybe 27, but 30 possibly form, but only maybe on average 4 strike Japan and hit land.
Yeah.
Because some also do go very close to Japan. So many times when there's a typhoon, it's not hitting land, but it's just bringing lots of rain and some wind.
Yeah.
For example, even in Tokyo here, we have a typhoon pass by, but it doesn't come to land. But many more than 4 come by even
Yes,
Japan.
come by, yeah.
Yeah, so many pass by Japan and 4 actually strike land, hit land, or go on land is what we can also say.
Can I say come by Japan or
Yeah, come by Japan, or
Come by
pass
Japan.
by is probably better.
pass by?
Right, so many pass by Japan, and maybe only on average 4 go on land.
Mhm.
Right, that's when they cause damage, is when the typhoon comes on land.
You said it brings raining. Can I say it brings many rains?
No, it brings much rain.
Much rain.
Mm.
Okay.
So it brings much rain, it brings a lot of rain. So it brings rain, a lot of rain,
A lot
much
of rain.
Right, rain is considered uncountable this time.
So a lot of rains.
Rain,
No, a lot of rain. Or much rain.
right.
Okay.
Okay, good. And one more last question in this. What is the climate of Tokyo like?
The climate of Tokyo is depend on the years, but generally speaking, in summer it's very, very hot and humid. In winter, the snowfall is not so
Not so much.
but it's very cold. Minus sometimes below freezing point.
Okay.
But in autumn and in spring, you can feel very comfortable because not so humid, not so hot and cold. So you can go picnic.
Right.
You can enjoy the nature.
Right. And what about in June?
June. Oh yes. In June we have a rainy season. It's almost every day it rains. But it's good for the rice growing or other vegetables growing.
Right, they need the rain. Right.
So we need the rain.
Right, even though it's uncomfortable, it's important. Good. Okay, let's go back to our main questions for today. Number 5. It's a difficult question to answer, but let's see what your answer is. How is the Prime Minister elected in Japan?
In Japan, the Prime Minister is elected in the Diet. It's not like the USA, in which the president is directly elected by people. After elected in the Diet, the Prime Minister is appointed formally by the Emperor. Generally speaking, the Prime Minister is from the top of the leading party.
Okay, good. All right, let's try that again. Actually, in my opinion, I think just to say that the president of the United States is not really directly elected.
Yeah, I know.
It's a very complicated.
Representative,
Yeah, it's a real strange system. So I don't know if I would say that, but what we could say is a very key expression for use here is. Well, they have here in the model answer, the Prime Minister is not chosen by a general election. But I think to make it more clear, the Prime Minister is not elected by popular vote.
Popular vote.
Right, so the Prime Minister is not elected by popular vote. So popular vote means just really majority vote. The majority votes.
Popular vote.
Right.
It's a vote by people.
Right, vote by
Instead
people.
of the representative.
Right, and whoever gets the most votes wins. So just a simple majority is a popular vote. So rather than general election, because America has a general election, but we do not elect president by popular vote. America has a very strange system for electing the president. So
But to us, it's almost popular
well,
vote.
yeah, but many times in some cases, in some cases, yes, the person that wins the most votes becomes president. But in certain cases, that has not been the case. It depends on this system we call electoral voting system, based on representation of the state.
Okay.
It's hard to explain, but each state votes. Every state and all the people in all the states vote for a person, vote for one of two people. But the person that wins the majority of the votes in that state wins that state.
Oh, yeah.
And if that state has a big population, then all of the representatives for that state vote for that person. And sometimes, many times, the little tiny states have gotten more popular votes, but because the big states have more representation, they give all the votes to the person.
Oh, yeah.
And it's hard to explain, but it's not a direct election system.
Okay.
So anyway, so the Prime Minister of Japan is not elected by what? Popular vote.
Popular vote.
Yeah, that sounds better. The general election is okay, but I would say it's not chosen by popular vote. And then the Prime Minister is elected from among members of the Diet.
Prime Minister is elected among
From among the members.
Among the representatives, the members of the House of the Representatives. Okay.
Right. Well, I would just simply the House
Diet.
Yeah.
Diet.
Yeah, and then normally they have, again, Japanese system is also complicated. They have a vote the first time, and then if they don't get a real majority or something, then they have another vote, and it ends up being that the leader of the majority party of the House of Representatives becomes the Prime Minister, right? But he's elected from among the members of the Diet. That's the key, I guess. Okay. So why don't we try this again? This is, among all of these questions today, this is the one that's maybe more difficult, the most difficult to explain. Okay, so how is the Prime Minister of Japan elected?
The Prime Minister is elected in the Diet.
Well, he's elected in the Diet, but I don't. Maybe, as I said, my expression was elected from among the members of the Diet.
Okay.
Okay, because if you're elected in the Diet, it means, how do I don't know, that's not very clear. Okay?
Okay.
So, try again.
Okay. The Prime Minister is elected from among the Diet member.
Okay.
You said representative of the House of Representatives.
Well, according to this, probably this is, okay.
Because it's actually they elected both in the representative, the House of Representatives, and also the House of Councilors.
Right. So that's what I'm saying. He's elected from among members of the Diet.
Oh, okay.
So the total diet, we got upper house and lower house, House of Councilors, House of Representatives. But the whole diet, he's one of the members, regardless of where he is technically. That just is a very simple answer. He's elected from among the members of the diet. He's not elected by general election, or not elected by popular vote, by the people.
Oh,
Okay?
okay. So the Prime Minister is elected from among the member of the diet,
Okay.
and not elected by the popular vote by the people.
Right, good.
So it's a little bit different from that of the USA.
Okay.
I think that's all.
Okay, all right, yeah, okay, that's fine, I think. Many times the majority party,
yes.
leader of the majority party, okay.
Yeah. Many times, the leader of the majority party is elected as a prime minister.
Right, and it's usually with the majority party of the House of Representatives.
House of Representatives.
Right, okay. I should have studied more, I forget, but I think in Japan there's some times where they make an initial vote, the upper house and the lower house, and everybody just votes. Who do you want to be prime minister? And I believe if they don't get enough votes or there's too many people, then they have a runoff election. I thought. Anyway, maybe I'm confused. So I don't want to confuse it anymore. But I think that's why in the end, usually it's a leader of the majority party in the House of Representatives, because he can receive the most votes from his party.
Yes.
Yeah, so he gets the majority at the end. So, okay, good. Is that okay?
Yes.
Yeah.
This is a little bit difficult to answer.
Well, right. One of the things about this system, it is complicated. So I've mentioned to other classes that it's a good idea to study this and, as general knowledge. Study it in Japanese is probably maybe faster for you to understand than reading about this complicated system in English.
I think I understand the system, but how to express is a little bit difficult.
Yeah, this is difficult. Well, this and I think questions is at 9 and 10 are also 9 is okay, 10 is very difficult also. It's a very complicated system and to explain that. So anyway, what we'll do is just say basically the prime minister is not chosen by a popular vote by the people. He's elected from among the members of the diet. And often cases, because the person needs a good majority, that he's usually the leader of the majority party of the House of Representatives. And just something simple like that, I think, works. Okay?
Okay.
All right, what we'll do is we'll go on to question number 6. And question number 6 is, how is the local government of Japan conducted? Okay, the model answer is okay. The only thing I would suggest is that they mention in here many times the state, the state, the state. Maybe you're not mentioning this is okay, but for students who have the book or who look at this and they see the state, the state, the state. Finally, at the very last line in this model answer, they have central government, and that's what I would say. I would not say the state. Okay, so you can say like central government or federal government or national government, but the state to me is too vague. Because technically, even though it's, it means government in a sense. So the municipality is heavily dependent on the state. Well, sometimes the state, does that mean prefectural, like government, or what? So the state is, yeah, and the state also means like, it's too broad of an answer. So it's not, the municipalities are heavily dependent on the national government.
National government
is better.
Central government.
Central government, not the state. The state is a little bit too vague. Okay, so that's what I would change. And some of this whole answer, because it is long, I would just say something. The municipalities are heavily dependent upon the national government because 70% of their financial resources of local governments come from the central government. Okay, I'm not sure what your answer is. We'll listen. But the model answer is maybe long, and we don't need to put all of this other information. The other thing is also, in the model answer, they have governor, ward, chief, city mayors, village mayors, and etc. In English, we would not make much distinction between village, city, town. We would not make any distinction at all. Although you have the, the soncho, whatever, something in Japanese, you make the distinction.
Yes.
In English, mayor is mayor. So we would just say, governors, mayors, and members of the city council or town council. Just very simple. Ward chiefs is not something anyone is going to understand.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so we don't need to say all of this, just make it more simple.
Okay.
Okay, so that's what I would change some of this model answer. The information is fine. Just as an answer, it's a lot to remember. So making it simpler is easy for you to remember and, makes maybe sometimes a nicer answer so you don't have to struggle. Okay, good. So how was the local government of Japan conducted?
The Constitution of Japan guaranteed local autonomy. There are the governors, mayors, and members of assemblies are directly elected by resident.
Okay.
There are many jobs for them. For example, road construction, management of local schools,
Okay.
firefighting, and so on. But their budget is limited. So they are heavily dependent on the central government. So the statistics says that the 30% of their budget is from the central government.
70%, isn't it?
No, 30.
70% of the financial resources of the local governments come from subsidies from the central government is what the model answer says.
Yeah, so
You checked?
I know that.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm a little bit familiar with this kind of number
Okay.
because I'm teaching
Okay.
these kind of things to the
Okay.
kids.
So, but what you're saying is the opposite?
Yes, opposite.
So
30
this is not correct.
It's correct. It's incorrect.
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 Okay.
Not 70%.
So it's
So 50% is from local tax.
okay.
50.
All right.
And another 20% is from, another 12% is from local bond.
Okay, 12% from local
issued
bonds.
Issued by the
okay.
Local government.
And that's local bonds. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
local government.
And
Okay.
Another 5 to 10% are from miscellaneous
Okay.
revenue.
All right.
So only 30%
Okay.
is from central government.
Okay, I'll mention that. So it's
You can check that with
I'm not an expert. Okay, good. Well, to me, when I read this, it sounds like an awful lot. They have a local government, but 70% is coming from the state government, from the national government. Sounds like an awful lot. So what you're saying, it's actually the opposite.
Yeah.
Almost 30% comes from.
And now it's by regulation change. The income for local tax. What do you call that? We have income tax.
Right,
It's
income
for
tax.
central
Habitation tax?
government. Habitation, yes.
Juminze.
Habitation tax
Yeah.
is going up.
Right.
A little bit going
What's
up.
gone
And
up a
then
lot.
The central the income tax is a little bit lowering.
Right. The central government's income tax is percentage is lower, but the local habitation
Yeah.
tax, they call it.
That
It's
part
gone up
went
horrible.
To the local
Okay.
habitation, habitant tax, habitation
right.
tax.
Right. Okay. All right. So what you're saying is basically the municipalities that rely on the central government because 70% of the funds come from the central government.
Correct. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Good. I'll mention that. Good. Okay. 'Cause 70% sounded like a lot.
It's too much.
It's too much. Okay. Good.
It's strange.
Okay. All right. You know, I have to say, most students have never really checked. They just kind of read this and just go on, and I say, okay, you know. Good. All right, let's go on to question 7. I think what we'll do is practice number 5 and 6 later, again, which is 5 is how is the Prime Minister elected, and 6 is what is the local government, how is the local government of Japan conducted. Would you like to try these again now, or would you like to go on to, let's go on to number 7, and then we'll review them, okay?
Okay.
All right, so let's go on to number 7. 7 is easy. So when and how was the Japanese Constitution made?
The Constitution. It was just after the Second World War. It was enforced in 1947. Enforced.
Okay.
Okay. The GHQ, General Headquarters of the Allies, made draft for the Japanese government,
Okay.
which was seriously discussed in the Diet.
Okay.
Some very conservative people or representatives were very against, resisted the constitution.
Okay.
But finally, it passed the Diet. So now the constitution we have now is that almost that draft without changing, without modification.
Well, yeah, let's see. Well, my understanding was that the Constitution was made. The Japanese Diet or committee made a proposal first.
Yes.
And General MacArthur said, no, this is no good, do it again. So the second proposal was more or less accepted.
Yeah.
And that's the one that became the current Constitution.
Yes.
Okay?
Yeah.
So we want to try that again. How and when was the Japanese Constitution made?
But before that, as far as I know, the draft was made. The second draft was made by the GHQ.
Okay, well, right. There's two. What happened was there were two drafts.
Yeah.
The first one was rejected.
Yeah.
The second one, either made by General MacArthur, was accepted.
Yes.
Right. So that's maybe what needs to be explained. And as I said, I'm not sure who made the second draft. Was it?
Yeah, it's a little bit controversial.
Yeah, right.
As far as I know.
So anyway, the government made a first draft, and it was rejected by General MacArthur. Then the second draft was made.
Yes.
We don't know by who. Second draft was made.
Yes. Correct.
And that was accepted.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's try that again. When and how was the Japanese Constitution made?
Yeah. It was made just after the Second World War. The first draft was made by Japanese government, but it was rejected by MacArthur. And then the draft from the MacArthur or some other people, we are not sure about that, was issued, was made. And then it was very seriously discussed in the Diet. Finally, it passed the Diet.
Okay.
That is the current constitution.
Right, and it came into effect on what, May 3rd?
May 3rd, yes.
Right, so now May 3rd is a holiday, well, Constitution Day, right?
Yes.
Right. Okay, good. All right. So, yeah, something like that works. So,
okay.
I believe there were 2 drafts.
Oh,
And
yeah.
the first one was
Yeah,
no
I know
good.
that. Yeah.
The second one
Yes,
was not.
yes,
So
it's
that's all that maybe just simply maybe we need to say that is okay.
Yeah.
All right, good. Why don't we try once more? How was the prime minister elected?
Okay. In Japan, the prime minister is elected from the members of
From among.
from among the members of the Diet,
Okay.
and not by a popular vote
Okay.
by the people.
Mm.
And in many cases, the leader of the majority party in the House of Representatives becomes prime minister.
Right. Okay, good. All right, good. That's fine. All right, let's take a break.
Okay.
And then we'll finish the rest of the question, maybe practice some of these and review some of the other past questions.
Okay.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good. Okay, let's continue, and we will now talk about question 8, which is, what are some special characteristics of the Constitution of Japan?
Mm-hmm. There are some special character in the Constitution.
Some special, what, features?
Features.
Okay, or characteristics, okay.
Characteristics or features. The Article 9 said that Japan, we are not allowed to hold military force to solve the international dispute.
Okay.
This is very distinctive to Japanese constitution.
Okay.
I think the other countries' constitutions have not such kind of article.
Okay, have not such a, don't have such kind of.
Don't have such kind of article.
Right, okay.
In addition to that, the emperor's position is unique. In the Constitution, Article 1 said that the emperor is a symbol of the people, and at the same time a symbol of unification of Japan.
Okay.
Which is very different from the old Constitution. In the old Constitution, the emperor had a very real big power, just like a god.
Okay.
So it's very different.
Okay. All right, good. Yeah, all I could do is go by what the model answer has. So
Okay.
Japan, re-announces war, so that's Article 9. Sovereignty of the people, which is basically power by the people, or government by the people. Some students have trouble with the word sovereignty.
Sovereignty.
Yeah, it's a big word. It's not used very much. So, you could change words and say, power by the people or government by the people.
Power by the people. Power of the people.
Power of the people. Power by the people sounds a little more, I would say more, power of the people, power by the people sounds a little more active. Okay. Right, okay. And then respect for human rights and renunciation of war or renouncing war. Okay. But yeah, you mentioned the Article 1 about the emperor being the symbol of the state and the symbol of unification. That's fine. Okay. So just some students, as I said, had trouble with the word the model answer has number 1 is sovereignty of the people, and it's a nice word, but if you don't want to, if you have trouble with it, just the power by the people.
The reason why I omitted these two is not so special characteristics of Japanese one. It's
Okay.
It's common in the world.
Yeah, I think. Okay, yeah, the point is, yeah, if you read this, what are some special features? Yeah, then that's what you said is special. But I think what are they saying? What are some features, special features or characteristics of the Constitution? Is basically what are some important aspects?
Oh yeah. Oh, in that case, yes.
Yeah.
I would say these three.
Right.
Yeah, it's principles of three principles in the Japanese Constitution.
Yeah, so it depends on how you interpret the
Yeah.
question. And your answer, I think, was okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's okay.
Okay.
But I think what they're asking is really technically the question. What are some special characteristics? But what are the main features of the Japanese Constitution? Okay, so they did that. Now you mentioned Article 9. What do you think about Article 9? Do you think it's fine, or do you think it should be changed?
Yeah. In my opinion, it should be changed.
Okay.
Yeah, because we actually have self-defense force, and also the American forces
American forces.
reside
Self-defense
in
forces.
American forces reside in Japan,
Right.
mainly in Okinawa. So with these forces, we can protect ourselves against China, Russia, and Korea, North Korea. So it's in reality. So to meet the reality, we have to change the Article 9.
Okay, how would you change it then? What would you do?
Yeah, we
Abolish it?
Yes, we omit the fourth sentence of the Article 9.
Oh, okay. All right, right. Because some people say don't change it. Some people say change it. Some people say it's there, but it really doesn't have much effect. Some people say it's outdated. So maybe you don't need to omit it. Some people say it's okay, but it needs to be reworded. Reworded.
Reworded.
Rewritten.
Rewritten. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Because, maybe it's outdated. This was done right after World War II when Japan had maybe committed war. And so everybody was afraid, and China and Korea and all the neighboring countries were afraid. Well, now the war is more than 60 years have passed. And so because of that, the world is much different.
Yes.
Right. So I think, again, it's outdated. I personally think it should be reworded or changed because maybe it doesn't fit current world situation.
Yes.
Okay. Let's go on to question number 9.
Question number 9.
Yeah,
Okay.
and there are some difficult words here I can give some suggestions to. But let me just hear what your answer is, okay? What is the parliamentary system of Japan like?
In the Japan's parliament system, there are two houses. One is the House of Representatives, and the other is the House of Councillors. The number of members of the House of Representatives is 480, while the number of members of the House of Councillors is 242.
I would just say the number 242 sounds better.
Oh, okay. 242.
Yeah, okay.
So 480
Right.
and 242.
Right, okay.
Yeah. Generally speaking, the House of Representatives has more power than that of the House of Councillors.
Okay.
For example, if the national budget passed the House of Representatives, it becomes effective as the diet decision, even if the House of Councillors rejected that.
Okay. Right. And how long do people stay as a member of House of Councilors and House of Representatives?
In the case of the House of Representatives, it is 4 years.
Okay.
But before that, there might be election, general election. So it depends. Might be 3 years. In the extreme case, it might be only 6 months. So
okay.
it depends. But in the case of House of Councilors, it is 6 years for each person,
Right.
for each councilors.
Right. Okay. So it's 6 years. Right. Okay. Good. All right. Yeah. That's fine. I think some of the answer here is I like how you gave the answer. So the Japanese Parliament has 2 houses: the upper house, House of Councilors, and the lower house, the House of Representatives, and the House of Councilors has 480 members. The House of Representatives has 480 members, or what is it? The House of Councilors is 242. The House of Representatives is 480. So just kind of make it like comparing is actually much easier to understand.
Yes.
As I said, the answer here is fine. It's just a little bit more difficult to understand, where they have the House of the Parliament of Japan consists of the House of Representatives, whose 480 members are elected by popular vote for a term, which is a long, long sentence trying to say lots. So make short sentences to tell this. It makes it easier.
You
Okay.
said 242 is better than 242.
Yeah,
So
I think so.
it's if I say, because 242 is much easier to me. So
To say.
if I say 242, it's in front of the examiner. It looks it's very a little bit strange.
It is a little strange. English is strange
Oh,
because we say there are 1582. That's like a year. There are 1,582 members. There are 1,582 members. I would not break it into like that type of, 242. There are 242. So 242 sounds more normal English.
More normal. Okay,
Yeah.
I understand.
If you are just giving numbers, what was last year's budget? Oh, 242 or something. And Suji kind of just a number. But when you're talking about like members or something, it's better to give maybe more full numbers.
Oh, okay.
And in years, when we talk about, this year's 2010, so then it sounds like a number. We don't say 2010 or something. You could say 2010 or 2010.
2010
is okay. 2010, that's okay. 2000. Okay, but just something about when you said that, it didn't sound like 100% good. So your answer, I would say the full number, even though it's maybe more difficult. Okay, so 242, 480.
Okay.
Sounds better.
Good.
Okay?
I understand.
Okay, number 10 is a difficult question to answer because the system is really, really complicated.
Yes.
And I'm not sure, what your answer is, but just my suggestion is when they talk about this proportional representation system, I would say proportional representation system based on population. Because the proportional representation system is based upon what standard? Is it the number of people with, old people? Is it based on the number of people with brown hair? Is it based on the number of people with, who paint their faces black? Or, what I'm saying is you have to define what this proportional representation system is based on.
Oh, okay.
Okay, and this does not define that, and that's what I think would be better to say is elected by a proportional representation system based on population.
Based
You
on
know, not
population.
based on age or color of hair or what makeup color they use or something. It's based on population. That's what I would just add here. Okay, and instead of, sometimes we say electoral districts. If you don't like that, just regional districts is okay.
Regional districts.
Yeah.
Can I say the constituencies?
Constituencies.
Constituencies.
Yeah, you can say that. It's more difficult to say, but yeah, that's fine. Constituencies. Okay. Yeah, so the House of Representatives has 480 members, 300 of which are elected by regional districts, or electoral districts. Okay. All right. Regional districts. Some people have trouble saying electoral districts, so regional districts would work.
Regional districts.
Yeah, the electoral is great if you can say that. It's probably the better of the two words. However, people have trouble saying words they cannot say in the guide test, and then their guide test answer sounds bad. So they should say words they can say rather than difficult words they cannot say.
Yeah.
Even though the difficult word is better, it's better to say a good word with good pronunciation rather than a better word with bad pronunciation. Okay.
So regional districts.
Yeah, that is also fine. Electoral districts is fine.
Regional districts
Right.
or electoral districts.
Yeah, what I say is that electoral is the better word. The trouble is when students try to say
Yeah,
these
I
better
understand.
words at the test, they end up saying bad pronunciation and having trouble.
Yeah.
And so their interview does not go well. So it's better, for me, from my point of view, it's better to say a good word that you can say. Okay?
Okay.
So, but you speak pretty well, so you might not have trouble, but this is for some students listening. So, anyway, how are members of the Diet elected, and how many members are there?
Okay. In Japan, there are two houses. One is the House of Representatives, and the other is the House of Councillors. In the House of Representatives has 480 members, 480 members.
Okay, good.
300 out of 480 members are from small constituencies.
Okay.
And the other the remaining 180 are elected by the proportional representation system based on the population. In the House of Councillors has 242 members. 96 out of 246 is from the proportional representation system based on the population. And the remaining 146 members are elected in the constituencies based on the prefectural units.
Okay, good. All right, but just kind of like what this says, it's a real complicated system.
Yes.
Okay, and as I say, in my mind, it's like a grid. Do you know what a grid is? It's like lines or something, and there's one system on top of the other. So like, for example, the House of Councillors has a system of 96 people based on so many boxes of units.
Yes.
And then that's 96 or this way. Then the other 146 are another group of units, small and big, or by population or by prefecture, and they're put on top of each other, and these all become the representatives.
Yes. So it's very
Right,
complicated.
it's complicated. And then the upper house does the same thing, two grids. One's based on electoral districts or regional districts, and then a population grid with big, big and small districts based upon population, and they're put on top of another, and that's how they're elected.
Yeah,
So
it's very complicated.
Yeah, it's
So
kind of complicated.
many people don't understand.
Yeah, many
what's
people
going
don't
on.
understand. So that's what I get. I'm saying, if you're not familiar with how they're elected and can't say it in English, then you should maybe study a little about this so you know about the politics and the government in Japanese, and then it's probably much easier to explain.
Yeah.
Okay,
yes.
but if you don't know the system, then it's hard to explain, because even if you asked in Japanese, how are they elected, some people maybe can't answer. So if that's the case, if you can't answer in Japanese, then you're never going to be able to answer in English, I think.
Yes,
So.
and you can't do that.
Right. So even the problem is the system is complicated.
Yes.
It's not just hard English. It's the system is hard to understand. Yeah. So, okay, let's go on and finish the last two. Then I'll go review, and then I'll ask just a bunch of extra questions. What is the government system of Japan like?
The government of Japan is centralized. So, although there are local administrations, they depend on the central government. There are many types of local government, such as prefectures, cities, villages. These members and members of assemblies are elected directly by residents.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Okay. And in the center, there are two houses, upper house and lower house. And also, the relation between the cabinet and the parliament, the diet, is a little bit complicated compared with the American one. In Japan, the prime minister and more than a half of cabinet members are elected from the diet. Mm-hmm. So the relationship between the diet and the cabinet is very strong, and politics is conducted jointly by the diet and the cabinet. It's different from other countries.
Okay. And what about the legal system?
Our legal system is just like the USA and other European countries. It's independent from the cabinet and the diet. Mm-hmm. So these three watch each other.
Right. Okay. Good. So, the main answer given here in the textbook is that there's a legislative, administrative, and judiciary branch. 3 branches.
Yeah,
right?
judiciary.
And everybody has trouble with these words. And as I said in the last answer, if you can't say these perfect words, then say a better word that's an option. Say another good word that's an option. So, the government consists of the legislative branch. Mm-hmm. Okay, that is like the diet branch or the parliamentary branch. Mm-hmm. Okay.
When you say parliamentary branch or legislative branch, it means local branch or?
No, it means like the central. When they're thinking of it as the central government, there's 3 main branches: the legislative, and that's like the diet in Japan. And then they have the administrative, which is like the prime minister's branch. Okay. And then they have the judiciary, which is like the legal branch. So there's these 3 branches, and you said they all watch over each other. Now some countries call them different names. Okay. And because these words are not real common spoken words, if you're a politician, you probably say this a lot. If you study politics, you say this a lot. If you don't study politics, you won't be able to say them too easily because they're not common words. So the government consists of a legislative branch, or the government consists of a parliamentary branch, or a congressional branch, or a diet branch, a branch of the diet.
Okay.
Okay, and it also consists of an administrative branch. If administrative is difficult to say, then you can say executive branch.
Executive.
That's what, from my experience as an American, we call that the executive branch.
Executive branch.
And that's the president and the cabinet,
Okay.
and ministers. Then we have the judiciary branch. And if people have trouble with judiciary, then we would say maybe legal branch.
Legal.
Right. So these words are fine. They're perfect words, but students, again, have so much trouble saying them that I think maybe other options might be useful. So the government consists of a diet branch or congressional branch, executive branch, and a legal branch. And then again, you mentioned other things about the local governments and prefectural governments and things like that are also there. One of the things mentioned in, I believe, question 7 about the local governments is they are allowed by the Constitution to be autonomous or to have local autonomy. Again, autonomy is a difficult word some students have trouble saying. So just independence.
Independent.
They're allowed by government to have local independence. They're allowed by the government to be independent, to operate independently. So again, it depends if you want to say the adjective, the adverb, or the noun.
Okay.
But independent is the noun, and you can say something like that, which is maybe easier to say, a word most people know. Okay?
Okay.
Good. Let's try this one again. Okay, what is the government system of Japan like?
Japanese government has 3 branches, such as the diet branch and the executive branch and legal branch. So these 3 watch each other.
Okay.
That's a fundamental structure in the central government.
Okay.
And also in the local area, we have local governments and local assemblies.
Okay. Yeah. Right. All right, that's fine. Good. Okay, let's try question 12, which is a question on industry, not about government. And it says, what is the major industry in Japan and where is it located? Now let me listen to your answer. What is the major industry and where is it located?
Okay. I think the major industry now in Japan is automobile. And this industry located along the coast of the Honshu.
Which coast? The Pacific coast?
Pacific coast.
Yeah.
Pacific coast of Honshu.
Okay.
And some factories located in the inland of the Kanto Plains.
Okay, some factories are located in the inland.
In the inland of the Kanto Plain.
Okay.
And the other major ones are electric and electronic industry, which are located many places across Japan. So on the coast, Pacific coast, and also inland, in Honshu and Kyushu and Hokkaido. So generally speaking, Japanese major industries are located across Japan, not centralized.
Okay. All right, good. Where is the automobile industry mostly located?
Mostly located in Kanto area and also in Nagoya area. It's two places are the big places for the automobile industry.
Okay. Can you tell me about the agricultural industry in Japan?
The agricultural industry in Japan is being weakened because the price for the food product is very expensive. I mean, domestic one.
Right.
So people tend to buy very cheaper one from China or the USA or other countries. So because of that, our agriculture industry is getting down. Going down.
Is
decreasing.
decreasing, yeah.
Decreasing. So this is a very serious problem to Japan now. So that the government is making effort to raise up the rate percentage of the self-sufficiency.
Self-sufficiency. Yeah, the rate of self-sufficiency. Why do you think there is this problem?
Because if something happened in the world, we can't get food from other world, or from the outside.
Right, okay, right. No, that I understand. So why is it, for example, you say the food in Japan that's made domestically cost a lot? Is there reasons for these?
It's because the biggest reason is that the labor cost is very high.
Right.
And also the Japanese land is not so spacious. So I don't know what you call that. It's not effective to produce something.
Right.
Because of the limited land or not spacious land.
Right. Correct. Yes. Yeah. Okay. Good. Yeah. Because in countries that have more land, such as China and America
Brazil,
or Australia, these places, they have huge farms that they use farming machinery.
Yeah.
But in Japan, the farms and the rice fields are relatively small.
Yes, very small.
Each one is small, so it's difficult to farm them with machinery. So they have to be done by hand a lot.
Yeah.
And then it just costs a lot. Plus, price of things in Japan in general are expensive.
Yes.
So it just adds to the cost of things because it's expensive.
Yes.
So that's one of the maybe disadvantages in Japan, is because each farm is very small. Where in America, rather than in the old days, this is true, each family in the countryside had their own farm. Nowadays, many farms are run by huge companies. And people who work on the farm are actually workers of a company, right? Rather than the family farm that they own the land. So
you're saying about America?
Yeah, in America, many companies own the land, and people who work there actually work for the company that owns the land rather than each farmer. Although there are still some independent farmers. But Japan, mostly everything is independent farmers.
Yes.
And so it's very labor intensive and maybe inefficient. Although the products they produce are wonderful, it is not as efficient as other things. And with people being price conscious,
yes,
products from Mexico, America, China, they just cost less.
Yes.
And so people tend to buy them, and based on cost sometimes more than quality, but it's just the fact of life,
Yes.
Everybody can't afford to buy expensive things. Good. Let me ask you, what types of fish are there in the oceans or in the sea around Japan? What kinds of fish do fishermen catch?
Japan is, of course, surrounded by seas, so we have many fishes, many kind of fishes close to Japan. I think it depends on person, but for example, the most popular one is tuna, which is not which is caught close to Japan at the same time in Africa, in Indian Ocean and Western Ocean, but
The Indian
okay.
Ocean? No, okay. That's what just to get make this real easy. Okay, your answers are very good, but you're trying to give maybe too much technical things. And the question is, what kinds of fish do you catch in Japan? And all you need is a list of fish.
List of fish.
Yeah.
Okay.
What kinds of fish do they catch around the seas
Yeah, we
of
can
Japan?
catch sardine, bonito, herring, horse mackerel, and sea beam.
Sea bream.
Sea breams.
Right. Good. Okay.
These kind of things.
Yeah. Good. And which of those do you think are there any of those that are the most favorite?
My favorite?
Okay.
Okay. My favorite is bonito
Oh, okay.
and sardine.
Oh, okay. Good. So yeah, those are all popular fish. Yeah.
Yes,
Good.
very popular.
All right, good. Yeah, some of these questions, I know you're trying to mention where the fish are caught and compared to other places, but yeah, some of these are just you could answer real simple. The fish they catch, they catch salmon and they catch tuna and they catch mackerel and horse mackerel. The word mackerel is very difficult for some people to say.
Mackerel.
Mackerel, which is what?
Mackerel.
Mackerel, right, which is saba.
Saba, yeah.
It's hard for people to say. So if you don't want to say it, don't say it. Pick another fish that's easy to say. So we have salmon and tuna and sea bream and bonito and sardines. And those are easy fish to
Yes,
say.
yeah.
And you don't have to mention every 20 fish or more, right? So
5 or 6 is enough.
yeah, that's probably fine. And maybe, one of the popular fish, for example, in all year is salmon. People like salmon, enjoy all the year. Some season or fish are seasonal more than others, and that's mackerel is usually in the fall and winter, and also a fish called sauri.
Sauri, yes.
Right, which is horse mackerel in English. Most people won't know what that is, but they're popular in the fall. So you can mention some of the seasonal fish if you want.
Okay.
Okay, good. And
My pronunciation, mackerel is...
yeah, that's okay. It's a difficult word for Japanese to pronounce. Mackerel.
Mackerel.
Yeah, mackerel. So again, if you're not
Mackerel.
sure, practice mackerel.
Mackerel.
Yeah, it's
Mackerel.
Mackerel. And we kind of, English is, when we speak, are lazy. We don't say mackerel. We kind of mackerel.
Mackerel.
Yeah, and we don't say macro, because some students I hear say macro, like macroeconomics. No, not macro, but it's mackerel.
Mackerel.
With an L at the end. So again, if you don't like saying this fish, you don't have to say it. Choose another fish easy to say. Sea bream is real easy,
Yes.
right?
And herring
sea
is,
bass is easy to say.
Sea bass,
Herring is easier. Sardines are easy, right? So pick fish that are easy to say. Okay, let's go on to something a little different, which is flowers.
Flowers.
Okay, and I know in springtime, cherry blossoms are very popular, but what other flowers do bloom in spring, and what flowers are very popular?
In spring. Yeah, there are many. In spring. Not azalea. Yeah, azalea.
Azaleas.
Yes. And just after cherry blossom, we have azaleas flowers, and then dwarf azaleas, which is in May. And others, dandelions.
Dandelions?
Dandelions.
Okay, they're kind of...
I think it's spring.
Yeah, they
Dandelion.
come in spring, yeah. Dandelions are weeds.
Yeah, weed. It's
It's
weed.
weeds,
Yeah.
but yeah, they bloom. Okay. And what, wisterias?
Wisterias.
Right, and in rainy season is
Yeah.
hydrangea?
Hydrangea.
Right. Okay, and then also, typical spring flowers everywhere. Tulips, daffodils, those things are
tulips.
all bloom as well. Okay. Tell me, what do you think are the attractions of autumn in Japan?
Attractions in autumn. Yes. In autumn, the leaves, the color of the leaves change from green to red or yellow. So many people go to picnic to see these colorful mountains and hills.
Okay.
It's a very typical event to Japanese in autumn.
Okay.
And also there are many festivals across Japan because the harvest of rice are finished. So celebration for that they hold festivals in in almost all areas in Japan.
Right.
And also chrysanthemum.
Chrysanthemums.
Chrysanthemum is very popular and loved by people. So in shrines and temples, there are many exhibitions or displays of the beautiful chrysanthemum,
Right.
or which are sometimes shaped, taking many years.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So many events in autumn.
Right. Plus the weather is usually nice, pleasant.
yes.
Right. Okay. Tell me, what is yakitori?
Yakitori. It's a broiled chicken.
Okay.
And you have a stick, and these piece of chicken.
Pieces of chicken.
Pieces of chicken is, I don't know what you call it.
Are placed on the, you could say placed.
Placed on the stick.
Okay.
And the cook broil these chickens, the pieces of chicken on the coal. And then
Maybe over the coals.
Over the coals, and we can eat that.
How do you eat them? What is the flavor?
It should. It will be seasoned by salt or other soup, not soup, but what do you call that?
A sauce?
Sauce, yeah, sauce.
Like teriyaki sauce.
Teriyaki sauce. Yeah.
Right.
So you can select salt or teriyaki sauce.
Right. Okay, good. What is onigiri?
Onigiri is a rice ball. In that, you may have some stuff like umeboshi, which is salted and dried plum. It's very distinctive to Japan.
Okay.
And maybe salmon, dried salmon.
Okay.
So you can pick up any you want, any type of ingredient you want. And in many cases, the onigiri is covered by a wrapped by seaweed.
Okay. How much do they cost?
It costs you maybe 100 yen to 150 yen, something like that. It's very cheap for one piece.
Yeah, good. All right. Good. Can you tell me, when did Japanese start wearing Western style clothes?
Oh, yeah, it started since the Meiji Restoration, which was 1868. As you may know, the Meiji Restoration, at the Meiji Restoration, the government officers introduced many things from the Europe and America. So one of them was the Western style clothes. So the government officials and military persons, soldiers and officers, were forced to wear the Western style clothes. And then this style spread out the common people very gradually. So, and the next occasion was, next trigger was the Second World War. After that, most Japanese became accustomed to wear Western clothes instead of Japanese kimono.
Okay, good. What is Go?
Go is a board game. Not like shogi or chess. Shogi and chess is very close, but Go is a little bit different from shogi or chess. It's 19 times 19 lines.
Squares,
19 times 19 squares.
19 by 19 has a grid, maybe we'd say a grid, or
grid,
board with 19 squares across, 19 squares down. So it's a 19 by 19, a board with 19 by 19 squares.
Oh, okay. A board of 19 by 19 grid. Squares.
Squares, yeah.
Squares. Okay. It's there are white and black stones. So the two people make two people play the Go, and it's more difficult than shogi because your choice is a lot. So you have to think very, very deeply. So it takes time, usually 1 hour and a half.
Okay, all right, yeah, I know. But shogi also, I guess, is difficult, but
yeah.
Right. So they're black and white stones, correct? But one player uses white stones, one player uses black stones.
Yes.
Right. Okay, because both they don't mix.
No.
The stones. So they're black stones and white stones, and one player uses white stones, one player uses black stones.
Yes.
And they try to take territory.
Territory, yes. Yeah.
Right.
I had to say that.
Yeah, on the board they try to take territory away from the other player.
Yeah.
And the player with the most territory wins, or if there is no more possibility to take territory, the one with the most territory wins.
You say most territory.
Right.
No, more territory is okay?
Okay, more territory, yes. That's probably more correct. Yes. The one with more territory wins. Okay.
The
player with
one what do you got? One
Okay.
who took
The,
more territory
the one who took more territory wins.
wins.
Right.
Okay.
Or the one with more territory wins.
Okay.
Okay, good. So again, some of these game things, they talk about shogi, mahjong, the thing, kind of explain how it's played a little bit. So each player, has a color. One is, in the case of Ego, one has black stones and the other player has white stones, and they try to take territory on the board. And the one with more territory at the end wins.
Okay.
Or if they cover all of the board with their stones, they win. Or if at the end there's no possibility to take more territory, then the game ends.
Okay.
Okay, good. All right, well, good. That's good. Yeah, just throwing these questions at you, I think you did pretty well. And again, some of the book, the book from the 300-word book, the definitions gives you an idea what to say. Many times you might want to change the answers to make them your own, or change words that you're comfortable with. But they give you a good guideline for some of these definitions. And definitely during the guide test, I check with students, ask what did they ask you. And they do many times ask simple words from this, what the book called the Sambyakusen book. So it is good to study from that. It's kind of a breaker from some of these more difficult questions, like today is, how was the prime minister elected? And the next question is, what is onigiri? It's very, from politics to food to, so they do add a little variety to the questions. So it's good to know answers to these definitions or to these words. Okay, good.
Okay.
Well, thank you for coming and helping today.
Thank you very much.
With this by yourself. So thank you, and we'll see you next time. Okay.
See you next
Thank
time.
you.